Hi. So for the three-dimensional focus that we had this week, the main idea that we want to concentrate on is this idea of a platonic solid or a regular solid. So these solids have two important properties, and sometimes we can forget the second one. So the first one is that they have to be constructed from the same regular polygon. So a cube or hexahedron is made of 6 squares, and they all have to be regular. Obviously they're squares, so they're regular quadrilateral, but at every vertex we need this property that there can only be 3 at the same vertex. Now for a hexahedron cube, this is the only way to do it, because obviously if we have 4 squares coming together, then we get 360 degrees, and so we couldn't possibly have 4 squares because it just becomes a flat sheet. So we can't do that. Anyway, but we could have a shape like this, right? So it's triangles. It looks kind of like the octahedron. But if we look closely at this, even though it's made of equilateral triangles, the reason why it's not considered as one of the regular solids or one of the platonic solids is because at this vertex we have 3 shapes coming together. So triangle, triangle, triangle. So 3 shapes. However, at these other vertices, we've got 4 shapes coming together. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we've got 4. Here we've got 4, and then at the top 3 and 3. So this means it violates the property of being uniform. So it's not uniform, and so even though it's constructed only of the same regular polygon, we don't consider it to be regular. Now, another concept which we don't look at as much, but I thought I'm gonna try to build a very cool model. Already tried once, it fell down, so I'm going to try and do it again, but this is to construct a semi-regular solid. So the semi-regular solids, also referred to as the Archimedean solids, one of the examples that I talked about in the lecture is the soccer ball. Now these are solids that are still constructed from regular polygons, and they have this uniform property, so the arrangement at every vertex is the same, but they can use more than one polygon. So the one that I'm going to make is made out of pentagons and triangles, and the arrangement is such that we have 2 triangles and 2 pentagons at every vertex. Now, an important thing to note about this, so triangle, triangle, the order is actually triangle, pentagon, triangle, pentagon. So triangles have 120 degrees between them, so 60 degrees plus 60 degrees at these vertices. The pentagons have 108 degrees, so 108 degrees here, 108 degrees here. So all up we get 60 plus 60 plus 108 plus 108 is 216 plus 120, so 336. So we're actually 24 shy of being 360 degrees, so a full revolution. Now that's important, and we talked about it a little bit about why it's important to have less than 360 degrees, because if we have 360 degrees like we did with the squares, so we have squares, we get like a flat sheet. So we need a gap with these. If we don't have a gap, then we can't close up the gap, and closing up the gap to join the edges together is what brings us kind of in the realm of 3D. Okay, so I'm gonna try again to build this thing, and then I'll put it on a fast motion thing, etc. So hopefully at the end of it I'll have created a cool shape. Yeah, so one thing about it is you might know, might not know, having this uniform property actually is really helpful in this case, because I know exactly how I have to construct it. So because it's uniform, I need exactly a pentagon, a triangle, pentagon, triangle at each of these things. So I'm going to keep... Okay, last thing. Okay. So, done. Yeah, kind of like building a Death Star, right? Yes. I'm always amazed with these as well as with the regular solids how, you know, we can make sure that we can get an arrangement around a vertex, but obviously that's no guarantee that that pattern is going to be able to continue and complete the whole ball. I think that is kind of an amazing thing that should be studied further and get to the bottom of it. Now, one thing about this is you can't do it the other way. So if we have triangle, triangle like this, and then triangle, 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 pentagon, pentagon, we're not going to be able to get the same arrangement with this shape around. So we can start building and we can try to put it together in such a way, but eventually we come to a problem. See if I can build to get to that problem. Okay, so already we get to this problem. So now I was trying to continue the pattern. So just go triangle, triangle, pentagon, pentagon, triangle, triangle, pentagon, pentagon. Then at the next vertex, this has to be a pentagon as well. But then once we get to here, we immediately get this. We can't get it going triangle, triangle, pentagon, pentagon. So we get triangle, pentagon, pentagon, triangle. So we can't get this to be uniform. So it won't work in that way. So yeah, just this one. Alright, hope you enjoyed. Bye.